That should do. Alright, so today, I think I want to go back to what I was doing before, a little bit anyways, because I've just been really wanting to make something. So, what better thing to make than one of the most simple games you can make, a clicker game. Yay! But in all seriousness, I think it'd be a good learning opportunity, because aside from VR, I haven't really programmed in anything else. I think it'd be fun. So, I have already worked on this, but that's going to be completely separate from this one. So, I will work on that one in my spare time to come up with stuff to put into this one. And I've already got a basic thing. I might even go a little bit past it. Who knows? Okay, so let's get started with this. Already butchering names. Okay, so starting out, think let's get a canvas going, and we want it to be from the camera. Turn that on. So we want it to scale with the screen. So, and we'll just let it match like that. I don't really care. So, we want it to be able to go to any resolution and match that, of course. So, let me go ahead, get UI panel. So, for example, if I set this to be some arbitrary number, why is it scaling? Definitely did that before. Did I have that set off? If I hit play. Hmm. That's weird. Okay, I'll just take that then. Okay. So, let's see. Actually, this isn't even matching the right thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a couple empty game objects real quick. This will be the game manager. Oh, actually, it's just one empty object. Doesn't matter where it is, but I'll just reset it. Call that the game manager. I'll open this up in Visual Studio, and I got a new trick. You guys can now see, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we no longer need any of these. We actually didn't even need them to begin with. So right now, let's see. So I'm trying to think why it wouldn't do this for me before. Unless I had it in world space. Does that change it? Does. Hold on. I'm gonna have to go on a little detour to figure out what I may or may not have done wrong. Oh, that's what I did. So I had it set to the center, and if I do this real quick, maybe it won't. Okay, yeah. Why would I have it set to the center though? It's probably for a reason. Okay, it was probably for like certain types of resolutions, because I'm pretty sure I tried it out on my phone and it did not like the resolution of it, even if I matched it to my phone screen. And that was while it was being stretched. So we're going to set this to portrait. Doesn't really matter the size right now. So we're going to go back into here. All right. So now let's go ahead and reopen up this. All right. So let's see. We're going to need to have access to the canvas scalar. Let's call this canvas scalar. We'll need access to our hello. So for some reason it got all tiny. It's fantastic. You love to see it. Okay, so let me switch back. We need to get a public game object. We'll do, not main, we'll just do display. And I'm pretty sure that's all we really need for this. So if I do public, not public, it could just say private. Private void start. We will simply just go for canvas scalar dot reference resolution, and that needs to equal something. We will go up here. We need to make a new vector2. We'll just call this resolution. And what we want to grab is the screen dot width and the screen dot height. And we just want to set this to equal the resolution. Now, that was the simpler one. Now we got to get on to the actual display. So normally, if you try to scale something like this, all it will do is, that's wrong. It's actually a rect transform. But it won't scale the stuff inside of it. So what we're going to do is grab the size delta and set that to equal resolution, but we want to divide that by 2. So now, if I switch back over to the game itself, and oh, everything's back to normal. So we'll set the display right there, and the canvas scalar right there. Let's make this text black real quick, so that way we can see it. So if I hit play, we can see that it's small. So if we go into here, we can see that it's 540 by 1080. And if you look, that's half of that. So outside of here, we need to set this to be 2. This is just a quick little workaround. Doesn't mean that it's like exactly how you should do it. There's probably a better way. But now, if I hit play, we can see that matches that just fine. And the text, let me go into here real quick and match this to this. All right. So if you notice, actually the text doesn't look too bad. Nah. But whenever it comes to buttons, they will look a little blurry, and it's just real easy to fix that. So this is here for a reason. This will be our currency. So we'll just do $, then, no, not that. That's for the text. This will just be currency text. All right. So now set it to sum, set it to auto, set the minimum to be 10, center it. Alright, so now we need to set up the buttons. Alright. Alright. And this will be our clicker button so we can distinguish it. And we want to anchor this to, not like that, down here. We will go 125 by 125. That's a little bit too big. I'll just set this to 70. Alright. So I'm not too worried about like setting this too much. Set the minimum down to 10. Make that black. Alright. So now what we need is a little manager for our buttons. There's going to be currently 3 types of buttons that we're going to have. So go ahead and open that up. I'll swap over. Okay, so in here, we're going to need a few different variables, and these will be very generalized variables. So we'll do a public float, and this will be the point value, and we will default all this to be 0. Let's see. It's also going to be a public float. Required amount. Public game object. Whoops. Game object. And this will be the hidden item. And we also need a private reference to our game manager. Just call that game manager. Not public. Make a start function. This will be and I know you shouldn't do these kinds of commands, but if it's a start command and it's going to run as soon as you start it up, it shouldn't matter. So there's also another thing. We want to check if the point value is greater than 0. And if so, we want to do something with it. We will go game object dot get components children might be a little dumb. Get component in children. And the component that we want to get is the TextMesh Pro GUI. We want the text to equal would help if I actually made it a string. There we go. Okay. And we'll make a public void on, we won't use that, on clicker button down. And what this will do is take the game manager, and we don't actually have this yet, but total points plus equals point value. And we'll just come into here, do a public float total points. So we also need to make an update, and this will just set the total points text to equal the total points. So in order for that to work, we need to get a public and we want to bring it out to 3 decimal places. Oh, wait. There we go. And since it's just this being updated in here, for now anyways, it shouldn't cause any sort of lag whenever we update it. So now, whoops, we'll go back over to here and set this up. So we need to put the currency text in here. If we go into here, on click, and we want to give it the button manager. Give it a point value. That required amount will be 0.1, but for this purpose, I'll just make it 0.01 for easy debugging. Hidden item. Oh, there was one thing that I forgot to add. So back in the button manager, we need to go if if game manager dot total points is greater than or equal to required amount, let's see, if it's greater than or equal to the required amount, then for the moment we want hidden item dot set active to be true. But if we don't have one, in the case of this right here, let's go ahead and save. So if I go into here and do this real quick, if I get to this point, we're going to get an error because there's nothing there. And we don't want to get an actual error for not having anything because there's going to be like a final item, right? So back over here, we're just going to change these around and hidden item doesn't equal null. And I'll go ahead and throw this into some quotes, not quotes, brackets, curly brackets. And I'll also debug it. So now, if we go into here, just hit play, we'll see once I get to here, see we aren't getting anything from it. Ah, that's why. It's because it's null. And you can see that we didn't get any error from that because it is actually null. So what we're going to do instead is just grab the currency text, throw that in there, and I'll also just disable it so we can have a proof of concept that it's working. So if I go hit this enough times, we can see that it's activated, but if I hit it again, we just get it repeating down here that it's enabled. And we don't want to repeat that every time we click. Because if someone is using, say, an auto clicker, bound to happen. Then what will happen is that'll update every single click, and we don't want that. So we're going to create a new variable over here. Be private bool enabled, and we'll default this to equal false. And then we're going to check it enabled and that. So if it's not enabled, we want it to do all this. And then after everything's said and done, we'll just enable it. Oh, okay. I'm actually going to need to change that because it's blocking another behavior. It's okay. Alright, so now if I come back out over here, hold on a second. Okay, it's still in there, so it doesn't matter. If I press this all the way up to here, we can see that it does it once and only once. So that's good. So now, let's see, what should we do next? Alright, I'll go ahead and create what it's actually going to unlock. So if I go into here, I'll go ahead and create a new button. Call that the menu button. We'll set the size to 50 by 50. We'll set this to just be black. Make it say menu. Auto size. Turn that off. So we'll go ahead and set it right up here. I'll go ahead and make this a little bit smaller, to be honest. 150 should be okay. And I'll pull this all the way out over here. And see, I'll just set it right here because the menu is actually going to be right there. I'll make a nice little animation for it later. But for now, we're just trying to get this to work. So if I go into here, so hidden item will be the menu button itself. And the menu button will have this button manager on it. And we will go into here. Excuse me. We'll set up a scroll view. Before we get too far with it, I'm just going to delete those. Go into here and make sure that it registers that they're gone. Make sure that that's right. So we are going to put that there. We want the anchor to be in this left side. So can't really see it, but that's okay. I'm going to change the color. There we go. And I don't mind it being right there. So we're going to go ahead and disable this to start out with. Make sure that it's on here. And we don't actually have the function for it yet. So we're going to move over here and create a brand new function. So we don't need to increment any score like we were doing up here. So all we're going to do is this fancy little thing called a switch case. Switch on unlocked, do case true. Just so the errors go away, we'll do a break. Case false. And we'll also throw in a break. Okay, so this is going to seem a little backwards. So if it's true, we want unlocked to equal false. And if we go up, we want the hidden item dot set active, if I could spell, to be true, well, false in that case. All right, and then we just switch these over for true, and that's all. So now if I go back to my main screen real quick, I'll go ahead and disable that. Make sure that I got it in here. I do. Okay. So now, just pressing this till I can get it unlocked. I can just forget to do something, of course. So let's check this out. So the scroll view is in here, but I forgot to do the function. Also, notice that whenever I clicked play, the button ended up down here. It's because I need to anchor it for this specific corner. So now if I hit play, we can see that it stays there. Gets a little smaller, but that's fine. So what we need to do in here is give this the on menu button clicked. Go ahead and redisable it. I'll have to fix that. But if I click on this enough times, we can see that the menu is up here. We press it, and it's also there. So that's working how we want it to. All right. So now, if we come over here, also notice that it also did the same thing for this. If we have to give it like priority over something, I want it to be this top corner. And I'm going to get this down to an actual decent display size. All right, let's make this a bit smaller. There we go. So let's go ahead and take care of the fact that it's shrinking some. And the best way to do that is to match it to your actual resolution that you are working in, because once you do that, it should pretty much work for any 16 by 9 resolutions, and will make it a whole lot easier on you. So we'll go into here, make sure these are all the way up, and now it looks exactly like it did before. So now we can get a better sense of scale. I don't even know where the menu button went. Oh, it's still there. And we'll bump this up to 75 by 75. Nah, do 60 by 60. And looking at this, we can see that it is in fact not all the way down. Now, I'm not extremely worried about it. Of course, there is stuff that we can do if I really, really wanted to fix it, but it's not too bad to have it like up here some. Alright, so now the next thing that we really got to do to make sure that this is going to work pretty good is to give us an upgrade. So this will also be handled in our button manager. So if I come back over here, this is just going to get a public void on button on upgrade button down. I should say button up because it waits for you to release it. Alright, so let's see, now what we want to do Alright, so what we need access to is an actual reference to our button that we're going to be upgrading. And it's going to be this. Now this is, I should change the name a little bit, because this is just going to be a click upgrade. There's going to be a regular upgrade where it upgrades like the passive flow of points or income or currency, whatever I'm going to have it be in the future. So we can easily get a reference. Let me bring it back over here. We can easily get a reference to what I want by putting in button manager, clicker, button, and I'm not going to do anything just yet. I'm going to pull us back over here, and I'll go ahead and enable this. Pull this off to the side some, and give this a grid layout group. And I'll throw on just a regular button. I'm going to make a actual item prefab at some point. But I'm not too worried about that right now. So we can see that it's in place. I don't want it to be like so tall. So I might just make this like 50. Maybe 75. 75 would do. And pull this all the way down to there so that way we can see all the way down there. What's the size of this? The width is 152. Not a problem. So come back into here. The width will just be 150. Spacing on the X can be 1. Start corner, upper left is fine. So let me go ahead and start throwing on some more buttons. So if we do that, we want it to be able to render all the buttons just fine. So we can see that it doesn't actually want us to go down there. Wonder if that's something that I did. Ah, here we go. Go clamped instead. We'll turn off horizontal. We can see that it does not want to go. And that's because I'm not that smart. Because content actually needs to be down. There we go. See, I thought it would have just scaled with the rest, but I guess it doesn't. Probably have to make a script for it to scale with the rest. But that's exactly what I wanted. I might change the padding a little bit. Maybe... Okay, that's just padding to the top. Let's make that 1. Probably padding from the bottom. We don't really need to worry about this kind of spacing. But if I bring it like that, probably just make it like 1.5. That should do. Alright, so I can get rid of the rest of these buttons for now. So what we want to do is be able to display the text for this button. And also zooming in some, it's very much off center. Go padding on the left. Oh, you can't do decimal places. That's fine. Okay. Alright. But if we go on to here and throw our button manager, give this a function, and we could do on click upgrade down. This takes in our button manager. And this wants our content, not content, clicker button. So if I throw this on there, we can go back over here, clicker button dot point value, and we'll hard code this for now because I want to see it if it will let me do it like this. And I'm not going to worry about any sort of cost. So we'll come back over here. Oh wait, there's something that I forgot to do. We also want to update the button itself so that way it shows the new value. So we'll do clicker button dot get component in children team pro GUI dot text will equal plus plus the clicker button dot point value to string. Gotta make sure to keep F3, so it's out 3 spaces. Okay, so I'll keep this unlocked for now and come back over here. So if I hit this, we can see that it's doing that. If I hit that, you can see that it's going up as well. And that works just fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and get off of that. And if we go back over to here, we're going to do a whole lot more than this. So we're going to utilize this required amount. So we'll do if required amount. Well, we need to get the clicker button dot. No, we don't need the clicker button. I'm dumb. It's the game manager dot total points. It's greater than or equal to this, the required amount. Then we'll do is this, and then right after we do this, we'll just go ahead and take away the points. Game manager dot total points minus equals the required amount, and the required amount needs to go up. Wonder what's a good decimal place to bring it up to bring it up by. Okay. So I think I will go ahead and so if it increases it by 1, once you reach an entire 10 cents, then it's like a 100 to 1 ratio of that. And kind of want that to increase a little bit. So if I increase it by, say, like 15%, it'd be 115 to 1 ratio. So that wouldn't be like great. Maybe 110, 10%. Because if you increase that by another 10%, you get 11. So you'd end up with 121. It's a 121 to 1 ratio. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Amount times equals 1.1 F. Also, why is the button gone? Okay, so now if I come back over here, let's go ahead and so this will have a point value of 0. The required amount starting out will be 0.1 to get to. There won't be any hidden item just yet, but there's obviously going to be something for a hidden item. So I might actually just make that code real quick so we can get a good idea of what I would like to do. So as it stands, we have no way to tell the level of the button itself. So this is going to be a private because I don't want it to show up for like any other buttons. Well, I say that, but I mean like say this button that gives us money and our menu button that's hiding over here. So for buttons like that, we don't want it to like give them that kind of value. So we'll make that 0.1. Okay. So what was I doing? Making a level. So we'll have this equal 0 by default. All right. So we'll go if level is greater than or equal to, say, 25. We also need to do unlocked, so that way it's not running every single time. It's greater than or equal to 25. We will have our hidden item dot set active true. And this is very basic right now because obviously I kind of want to do it like I used to play like a whole lot of Clicker Heroes growing up, and I think having like little upgrades that hide out below it that'll unlock over time, that'd be pretty fun to do. But for now, we'll stick with this. And of course, we also need to check to see if it's actually existing. Alright, so that should be good for us to hop back over to the main. And I will not duplicate, but I will unlock. Ugh. I will bring in a new item. Let's get that in there. And this will be the hidden item. So now I've actually got to play the game in order to get it that far. Fantastic. Okay, so this should be set correctly. Yeah, this needs to be switched to 1. Oop, clicking the wrong button. Oh yeah, the required amount went up. So let's go ahead and just get this. Like that. So since we can't really tell the level of it, we're gonna go into here, go into debug, and it should be, oh, yeah, kind of forgot about that, didn't I? Alright, just edit that real quick. Now it will increment the level. Alright, we'll get that up there. Do that. Come back down here. Got the level right there. Okay, so it's reached level 25, but it's not unlocked. That's because I'm also pretty stupid. There we go. Alright, so now, if I got this correct, which I'm hoping I did, 25, unlocked is true, and we got access to our second button. That does nothing right now. And we can even see how the required amount goes up. So let's go ahead and make that visual real quick. So this sets the button's text itself. Let's go ahead and go back to the normal view. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at this button text. Okay, so now, where am I at? Okay, so keep forgetting to switch it back. So I got level and cost that I want to basically implement, and that'll be really easy to do because we've already got the required amount right here updating and the level right here updating. So we could just go right below here, do game object dot, let's go ahead and make us a little variable up here. We'll do, uh-oh, we don't need that. Get component in children. I didn't want to do that because that just includes TextMesh Pro. I don't want too many includes. So we could do that. There we go. All right. And that should do it, honestly. So now I will go ahead and also, no, I might as well just throw this into the, not start, we'll make an awake function real quick. We'll throw that in there. Throw this in here. Then grab this. I'll leave it as text for now. I don't even have this one open. God damn it. Okay, so I just moved the TextMesh Pro from out of here into here. And I'm just going to do an else statement up here. Because it might also just work in here. I'm not sure. So we could do that. And I'll go ahead and just rename this to button text, so it's not just texts. Okay, got that saved. I'll hop over here. So I don't know if this is gonna work first try. I don't usually work with text. Okay, that works. And of course I could click all the way up there. There we go. So another thing, this. So that can be fixed as well. So the problem is because it doesn't have a point value, it will just immediately default to the else. The menu button doesn't have a point value, and that was my workaround for it. So I'm just going to do else if required amount is greater than 0. So now if I hit play, switch it back over here. Yep. So now if I hit play, it should fix that. There we go. That's fixed. And we can see that this is kind of sort of working. And the thing that needs to change is the fact that it needs to go out to just 3 places instead. Usually I would use something like 2 different text box for something like this, but eh. So I'm just gonna switch that over real quick to string. We'll do that. There we go. Okay, so it's still doing that, and I know exactly why. It's because I forgot to do it to the bottom one. I'll do that real quick. That, and there we go. And once we get to 25, that's when this button becomes active. All right. So let's see what else I can do real quick. So maybe I can do the overtime ones, get like passive income going. And I might just tackle saving, loading uh, at some point as well. Might make my own custom save system. That'd be cool. Make it completely hackable too. Be so fun. It's like anybody with any sort of knowledge of how to install a file manager. Okay, give themselves infinite money. That'd be so fun. I'd do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the overtime ones going. Actually, I'm getting a little too ahead of myself here. Might be all the caffeine. But what we actually really need is a prefab for this button. And I need to rework the code some so it can work with multiple text boxes, because I do want to do it like that. So that way we can get texts on two different levels and a third text that tells you the like what it does. So let's have some fun. I will go ahead and just make a button outside of everything. Won't do anything with it. Go into here, just create a folder for my prefabs. Throw that inside. Okay. So we can also get like a live sort of view of what it's going to look like if I scale this up some. I'll make it 10 by 10. Or maybe 5 by 5. There we go. Alright. So in here, let's go ahead and reset the position. So we want the entire thing to be clickable. So what we will do, maybe just do this. Why am I changing the position? So maybe bring it up to about 50. Well, actually, I have this other button up in here set to 75, so I might just do that too. Hello. Get that set to 75. Now we need to, I mean, this can stay. And let's make this more square. Do 10. That works. So I could do that. I'll duplicate that. Throw it right up top. So I'll go level, cost, text. Okay. So we can see that it doesn't like it outside of this. That's fine. It's probably because I scaled it and it doesn't want to change the actual like size of it. Should look just like this whenever I bring it in. So now we need to get another text box going. Put it right there. Could do that. We'll get some dummy text going. Oh, I got these backwards. Whoopsie daisy. What it do? So we got the descriptor text. All right. So now I'll go ahead and just bring the thing over here. That's weird. I can make it into little workstations. There we go. Don't know if I like that. I might like that a little bit better. Throw this in there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now what we gotta do is get a couple different things set up. Now the only hard part about this will be getting specific ones. So for that, we'll see what we can do. So we can see the children on here. So I might make a new script real quick. Be like, if I can find it, that would be great. Just call this test. So this is going to be since it's a test, I'll go ahead and just include TextMesh Pro. I should be able to do this. Okay. Okay, so now we need to be able to grab each individual one, and we may be able to do that with an index. So I'm going to see if let's do level equals get component. So there doesn't seem to be a get component at anywhere. So one thing we could do is make an array. So we can do, we'll just make this public. I just call it that. I'll do find objects by type. So it doesn't like that. Takes 0 arguments. Okay, so that might not work. So if I get that to equal that, then I'll go ahead and just minimize that. Oh wait, this needs the canvas. That's huge. Okay. I'll throw it under display. So if I go ahead and I didn't even throw it on there. Scripts, test, do that. So I'll go ahead, keep this selected. So this finds all 3 of them, level, cost, and descriptor. So I'm curious if it depends on where they are in the index. I'll go ahead and just unpack this. So if I do that, does it change where it's going to go? Because if that's the case, then I can determine what's what. So if I do this, it does. Okay, so that's perfect, because all we need is just those 3. And we are not going to be doing that inside our button manager, because the button manager is for the basic stuff. So it's going to be for triggering the buttons themselves, but the buttons will basically have their own function on there to where that they will trigger that. Should make it a little bit easier whenever it comes to having a bunch of TextMesh Pro stuff on here. Maybe. I'll try it. So Alright, so now we no longer need that. We can do button texts, components, and we don't want this to be something readily available. So this will be for our menu button itself to not get that. So I'll throw this down here. There, let me make this full screen, make it a little bit easier. So we're going to need to open up some brackets for these. Do that. So now we will do button texts 0 dot text equals then we can do that. And what this will do is the point value. This will be, instead of plus, do that. There we go. Do cost, required amount. All right. So that should basically be good. Then we will just take these, because at that point it should be defined for all these buttons. I should be able to just throw this down here. So now, instead of doing it on these, we're going to grab our prefab. Has a missing script. Oh yeah. We'll go ahead and remove that and actually apply the correct script, which will be our button manager. So we don't got to worry about any of this stuff. The only thing I'm really concerned about would be for this. We actually don't even have the, well, I'm not going to worry about putting in a function, so there's no default. So I will be required to actually put it in manually. For now anyways, I might see what I can do to automate it. What size do I got this? Scale is 1. So I want to throw this under content. Okay. So this can go ahead and stay the prefab, because the only thing that I am changing is this right here. So if I change anything like the size of any of the boxes, it should update that. Clicker upgrade. Throw that in there. So I'm not sure if this will try to work for this, or if it just like skips over it if it's already got it. We'll have to see. So required amount is 0.1, and level is an internal thing, so it should just be 0. So I'll go ahead and disable this, hit play. Should take up the entire screen now. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get this upgraded. Oh, and that's something that I need to change. So I got it going on to the point value. Oh wait, duh. It does need point value. Because point value is what it increases by. So now if I hit play, oh, that's loud. I was not expecting that. Alright, sorry, I got lost. So we'll go ahead and, whoops, that shouldn't be that. This should be changed. And I'll actually make it a reasonably smaller number, so that way we can see if it's actually, cost isn't upgrading. Reference not set. Uh-oh. So 1 is not being set. Let's see, are the other ones being upgraded? No. So, if I go back into here, if I hit play, well, I'm not even making it public, so I have no idea if I'm actually changing it or not. Let's go ahead and make that public. So we got that. So on start, this is 0. So I might have to switch that to be on awake instead. So actually, I'm kind of curious. Okay, I get it. I was like, how is the menu not actually changing? Because that's crazy. So I'll go ahead, do that, throw it in here, give it just this if statement. So now, if I hit play, we should see that it's, ooh, that's great. Ah, okay. So it's registering this with a required amount being greater than, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So we need to change this. Maybe I could do a public boolean to check to see if it's going to be an upgrade. So we could do that. And it still has to be in the onAwake function because onStart goes at the start of the program while onAwake goes whenever the item is actually woken up or activated. So let's see. What was it? What was I even doing? I lost myself. Okay, I see what I'm doing. So we need to change this to be isUpgrade. I'll go ahead and actually apply that one to the prefab. This one can stay false. Now if I hit play, that should fix it. No longer get the error. Go out here, do 10 should be fine. Open this up. So we can see that level is actually showing us the descriptor. So if I go into here, that should not be the case because of that. So I wonder where it's going wrong. Right here. I can guarantee it. So I'm going to switch this to not being an isUpgrade. And that may or may not fix it. So if I pop that, hit that, we can see that that's all fixed. If I do this, it's increasing, but I forgot to clamp that to... This is why you playtest, honestly. So I'm also going to clamp this one because once I get in later on down the line, I'm probably going to add something like prestiging. And in order for that to work, it's going to make this like a really long float. And that's just going to cover up that entire thing. Okay, so that works. So we'll do this one last time to make sure it's fully operational. We can see that it's increasing that. And if I go into debug, we can go down here to unlocked, then go into button. There we go. So now we can see if it's unlocked or not. This is still not working. I don't even know if I saved it or not. I'll double check to see if I saved it. I did. Oh, hold on. It's being saved to an F3. I see the problem. It's because I did it to the wrong values. Alright. Anyways, that was working just fine. And just to quintuple check to see if I'm smart enough for this. I am not. Oh, buddy. I think I need some more coffee. Alright, so there we go. Fuck. Why are you showing that? It's because you're not an upgrade. God. Ah. I might need to restructure this a little bit. So, also noticing that I am being a terrible programmer and mixing my publics and privates together. Something that you should never do is mix the private in with the public. That's how you get arrested. Alright, so currently, how it stands, we have two floats, one for how much it will affect anything. So like, whenever we click, we use the point value to increase our total points. But whenever it comes to upgrading, we use our point value. Ah, I can actually switch this over to point value. That's pointer of event. Point value instead. It's a good thing I'm going back through this. So that'll increase it by our point value, also decreasing our score, our points, by whatever the required amount was. Then we are setting the button itself that we click to be that new value. And we we multiply the cost of the required amount by 10% or 110%. So it'll go from 100 to 110, 110 to 121, that whole jazz. I got, all right, and we got the button texts, which just house all the Text Mesh Pro stuff that we got on there. And we do the exact same thing down here. There might be something that we can do for that, but I'm not too worried since that's basically it. Like, as far as this goes, we're gonna be doing it a third time whenever it comes to the automated ones. So it might be worth it to make a update text function real quick. I'll throw it at the bottom. So this will take in our I cannot spell. And there's a dog right next to me. Tiny dog. So we're going to be taking in the TextMesh Pro GUI array. We'll just call this texts. And we'll basically just be doing this. And because these are public values in these specific items, they should be okay. And actually, I don't even need this. because this is also public to the script. So now all I gotta do is just update text. Could do that there too. All right. And if it's like a single lined one like I'm doing right here, I'm not going to worry too heavily about it. And although I might like move this down to right here, because all of these are going to be repeated as well, I may not delete. I may just also put them into their own function, but in order to do that, I would need to call this again. So maybe, maybe not. All right, let's see. Well, first of all, we need to see if that actually works. I saved it, right? I did. I'm smart. All right. So that updated correctly. That's still not working. Okay. Oh, this has got completely sidetracked. Uh-oh. There. That should fix that in the next run. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, the joys. And it's still doing it. Holy. Okay. Let's see. So, for starters, I'm doing it in the wrong spot. Whoopsie daisy. And I might also just do it here. Alright. If this doesn't work, I'm going to start pulling out hair. Alright, that says menu. These are being upgraded. Alright, so that's looking good. And I think maybe later on down the line, once I get into the, by later on, I mean like maybe in the next hour or so, whenever I get the automated stuff going, I can make the buttons highlight or go dark whenever they're not available. But currently this is all placeholder. Like, even though I did make this button, it's still technically placeholder. I'm going to be probably making it look a little bit better. Probably. Not guaranteed, but probably. I ain't no artist, but I think I can do better than white. Okay. I'm trying to procrastinate a little bit because I don't want to have to look up how to do the whole thing with automatic stuff. I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to enable this real quick, and I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to put it on this side. And then, get this. I'm going to add an animation. Scary stuff. I do have a layout for animation, right? Yeah. Okay. Shouldn't be too bad. So I can go. I need to pull this off to the side. And I might just make it active at this point. So if I make this inactive, can you see the edge of that? No. There we go. Okay. So we may or may not need two animations. I hope we don't need two animations. We shouldn't need two animations. Because what I can do is instead of just animating this specifically, I'll go ahead and throw an animation on here. I'm pretty sure you could play two different animations at once, so if I add like any sort of like click animation, that should play as well. Hopefully. I might just throw it on here. So I'll drop into the animation. So we'll make sure to have this selected. Let's create. Let's open a new folder. Animations. So I will have to activate this beforehand, and I might also throw like a smidge of distance between it. Okay. So now I'm going to hit record. Not you two. I need both of these, and they need to have their starting position. Okay, I'll just do them one at a time, I guess. So we need both the X and the Y. Shouldn't need the Z. Okay, so now onto the scroll view. So now by here, I would want both of these to move over. This is going to depend on the menu button. So I'll pull it out to right there, maybe? No. Okay, we need to go back to here because I completely forgot that I'm also going to be moving the text. So this is going to move over to about right there. Then this can move over a little bit more. Then this can come out all the way. All right, and that's basically it. Easiest animation of my life. Let's play it. Yeah, easiest animation ever. So I'll come out here, copy this, new clip, and they will start right there. So we'll go back to here. We're at 440. Just copy this. And then just paste it here. Maybe move the button over some. I could do that later if need be. Alright, so that's good. We aren't going to be winning any awards with that, but it should be okay. More than enough for something like this. Alright, so now I can go back to default. So now instead of activating and deactivating, we want to play an animation. So we could do this from script, and before I forget, because I know I'm going to, we gotta turn off the loop time on this, so they don't just loop through the animation. Okay. Don't know why it got me out of that. Okay, there we go. Oh wait, it's because I switched over to animation, and it probably set the viewport. That's okay. Alright. So, like I said, we could do this from code. But I think it might be a little bit easier to just do the... Actually, I might do it from code. Because that could add a little bit of like back and forth with this. So we'll get a private animator. Actually, I shouldn't call it menu animation because it's not tied to the menu, it's tied to the display. And I hope that we can get multiple animations going at once with the same object. We should, right? So I'll just call it animator. So I could do, whoops, can do animator dot play menu. Let's say this is true, so it's going to be switched over to false. So we need the menu close. Then we could just switch this over to menu open, and that should work just fine. We also need to find the animator. Might be worth it to do it at the start. I was using the wrong one. And I'm pretty sure how these work is they'll go from the top to the bottom of the hierarchy. And if they don't find anything, then they'll probably just return null, give you a little error like, hey, couldn't find this. So if that's the case, then display will obviously be the one that it goes to. All right. So now, let's see. I don't think there's anything I gotta do. Let's play. Uh-oh. Whoops. I gotta... How do I? How do I? Come on, let me move. What the fuck? Anyways, I need a default. I completely forgot about that. So let's make a default. Why am I rotating? Let's go into default, record. I'm not rotating anymore, am I? Nope. So by default, this is going to be turned off, and that should be it. Okay. So now, gotta go into here. Ah, it's alt. Very handy. Let's set that as the default state. So now, going back into here, hitting this, we can see that it automatically makes that disappear. Also, everything is huge. It's not how it's supposed to be. What do I got this set to? Oh, that do it. There we go. Okay, so Default is set to loop. So now, uh-oh. So I wonder why it's not actually showing up. So if I hit play real quick, so it's supposed to be enabled there. So what if I do that? Is it just going to re-disable it? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, it's fantastic. Hmm. 'Cause if I delete that, then replay this, then it's just gonna do that. So maybe if I disable it, does it still try to do that? I feel like it will. Yeah. So now I'm curious if this will open it, because if not, then I can make the default to... It does. Okay, good. Because now I can just go into here and make the default set to this instead. So now if I do this, it'll be disabled and the menu will stay closed. All right. Just gotta ignore that. Okay. Hmm. So maybe whenever we get to that unlock point, since we have the animator, we can play the open animation instead. So that way, whenever the player unlocks it, then it'll just open. So I'll do animator dot play menu open, and then I could bring that default node back in here because it'll have the open to override it. Okay. Let's see if I am big brain somehow. So it doesn't enable that, which is weird because that's what I have it set to do. It's like enable the button itself. Unless I removed it? No, it's there. So just to make sure none of these are looping. So because of the animation, it doesn't want to do anything. So I may have to switch the default animation from setting it to inactive to active. I'll give that a shot. So if I do this, you can see that it does in fact enable it. We'll keep it enabled. So this might be a little complicated, but I'm gonna have fun with it. It's the whole point of this. So we're gonna go back into here, and I'm going to switch this up a little bit. So maybe we have two different states of it, locked and unlocked. So locked will play immediately, and I'm thinking if it's locked, then this will just not even exist. We'll put it right over here. I'll go ahead and remember that. Set it over here. So I'll go ahead and add a new clip, animations. Then I'll go in here and also change the name of this from default to just locked. Switch that to unlocked, and unlocked will just do that. Although this has to be moved all the way out here, and this first spot needs to stay at 756. So now we play that. Looks good. So that way it's not being disabled, and I can go into here and just like delete that. And instead of playing open, we're going to play unlocked. And it's going to be yelling at me because I switched the name. So we're going to go back to default. Going to delete the default one that was left behind. Whoops. We're going to go into here and so it just wants to keep that as is. Oh, hold on a second. If I actually go into the project itself, it's probably got some metadata. the metadata is correct. Fantastic. I'll delete that and just throw locked in there and it registers it as default. I'm, you know what, just gonna duplicate this. Delete that. And delete these two. There we go. Let's go ahead and make that the default. Okay, let's try this again. Hello, screen. So I'm going to just fix that. There we go. So it's on loop. Locked is not on loop. This is on loop. And I gotta close it. Oh, that actually saved it? That's weird. Of all things that actually save whenever you do that, has to be animation. Alright, so that's there. We got that. I close it. Goes back to normal. Then we can buy all of this. Alright. So let's see. At a cost of 1, you make 2.5 cents. I'll keep it. Okay. Great. Now all I'm left with is I'm gonna have to look this up. It's been forever since I've done anything like that over time. Let's go into scripts. So this is going to be built into a different uh, C sharp script, and this will be I'll just call it automatic points. Okay. Okay. So I think in the game manager, I'm probably going to add public float points per second. Maybe in here, maybe not. I'll try it out in here. It should work just fine. So it's going to be the total points per per second. Oh, is it that simple? Hell. I may just be able to put it in here. So I can definitely just copy and paste this one. So instead of doing the points value, we're going to be doing, okay, and yeah, I am going to keep this in the game manager just because if you keep it like, whoops, if you keep it local, then it's probably not going to work the way I want it to. And having I'm going to say pseudo static way of using it will probably be for the best. So let's see. Instead of using button manager, because we don't need that anymore, we're going to use this. Points per second plus equals the point value. And because we have an update function in here, best to keep all your updates together as well. And what we want to do is throw this in before, do total points plus equals points per second. But if we do that, then it's just going to skyrocket. So we need to multiply it by time.delta time. And this will be per second. Then the required amount can stay up there. We no longer need to update this. We've already got our text updating. I wonder if it's just that simple. And just so we can keep a reference of how much we're making, I'll probably duplicate this, bring it down, make it smaller. we can just duplicate this. We can do that. Okay. And because of how we got this set up, let me change the name of this real quick. Because of how we got this set up, all I got to do is just add the button now. So let's go ahead, come into here. I'm not going to duplicate that because it has all its values. So I'll just throw this in there. I will go into the function, button manager, to on auto click down. So point value, see, I could do 0.01 as well. And in order to get up to here, I'm thinking since you make 25 cents, I believe it is, per click, by the time you make it to this, hold on, yada yada. Let's, what am I doing? Right here. Do 10, just so we can get an accurate number here. Alright, so we'll be making 0.26 per click. So I'm thinking maybe once player gets to 1. Required amount being 1. It's not going to be any hidden points. And it is an upgrade. What was it screaming at me about? Null reference. Where you at, bud? Game manager. That makes sense because I added text. So if I do that, then we should get an accurate number down there. There we go. We can see that that's working. But it doesn't seem to be taking points away like this. Oh, that's because I I didn't give it a cost. Let's go back into here. So on auto click, required amount, then required amount multiplied. So if I go into this right here, I could have swore, what did I make 1? Oh, I made this one 1. There we go. Now if I run this, and I go, wait, so this needs to go into here. and this needs to get disabled. So now I could do that, opens that, and once I get to level 25, right there, then I can unlock these. And these get pricey real quick too. Alright, it's looking pretty good so far. Okay, let's see. So that's the auto click done. What should I do next? Besides like anything really big. Maybe an options menu. That wouldn't be too bad to have. Be like if I got any like sounds playing, or if they want to do a save or even a load, then I could do that. So let's see. I need to create another button. And this one will just be off over here. Doesn't really need anything like that. So I will go into here and just make a panel. Make it decently sized. And let's change the color of it. So we can tell it's there. Let's get some placeholder buttons on here. And we don't need a button for this next one. Should be a toggle. Oh, I thought I was gonna have to do the text myself. Perfect. And for these, we should really bind them to a certain corner. So I'll bind that there. I think I've already heard this song. I'm gonna change it. Anybody want to listen to Jack Black sing Hit Me Baby one more time? 'Cause I do. And we can make this, I don't mind it stretching with it, because if it stretches with it, then these are just going to move with it. So I'm actually going to bind these to the top corner. So that way, if this gets shrunk down, these get shrunk down. Because look at the toggle right there. You can see that if it gets shrunk down, then it's just not going to track. So if we do that instead, they will follow it pretty good. Background's fine, but I need to change this. Whoops. Hold on. Music. And I'll probably get like little pictures to go in there. And for load, that'll probably have a menu that'll open up. I know I was talking about this earlier, but I really did like playing Clicker Heroes growing up, so it might just be something like that where you can paste in save data, like save data be shareable. I think that'd be fun. All right, let's go ahead and that's the wrong button. That's the wrong thing. Thank you very much. Options, menu. Okay, let's see. We got all that. Maybe a quit button as well. I can easily do that real quick. And that's done. So that's not going to do anything for me. Um, there's a way to do. I forgot what it was. There we go. So now, just a little thing I wanted to do. Now whenever I hit quit, it'll exit the play mode. And that should work just the same. So you can see like how versatile this is, except for the fact that it's playing an animation right now. Oh yeah, that's right, because of what was going on. So let's see. This just plays some animations. And this is So not like what you should be doing. But it'll work. That is if I got the name correct. Options button, yeah. There we go. Alright, I think that is where I will leave this. It's been like 3 hours. It's gonna be a pain to edit this. But if anybody is interested in even like just playing this, I'll see if I can upload it to itch. Definitely gonna try that. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream or the video if you are watching this